Hey guys, this week's Trials map is the Drifter. This is one of the more interesting maps, so here to talk about it with me is none other than Versus the Stream. Hello.
Hey, what's going on?
Nothing much, man. We're just gonna be talking about this here Drifter map. First map that we've had in the new.
I'm liking it a lot. The fact that I can get through these Trials cards and matches in general as quickly as possible tickles my fancy. I'm always a big fan of small maps that allow me to finish matches quickly because I play very aggressive. I have a very aggressive playstyle, so it works with me very, very well.
Would you say that this map favors the more aggressive playstyles, or would it favor kind of more passive?
I think it depends. I think it depends on the player, their team, and stuff like that, because I have gone against teams where they've played passively and they have stayed back and it actually worked in their favor, especially if they're team shotting, they have good angles and stuff like that. But I have found playing aggressive worked much more better when we applying pressure to that team, pushing them back into spawn and putting them into tight corridors and stuff like that. Works really well.
So like, what loadouts were you finding success with here? Because it's a very tight map in terms of like in terms of, you know, corridors, hallways. There's longer sight lines, but you can completely avoid those for the most part. Like you can really set out to be a close range map if you want to.
It definitely goes both ways. Yeah, you definitely have a lot of good picking spots where you can avoid long, gunfights and, just entire fight. But there's also places where you can force someone into those tight corridors, and I found myself using scout rifles, and I've constantly pushed middle. Either I adapt and go bottom middle or top middle and stuff like that. But I would always recommend sending at least one person to inside heavy and one person outside to scout, and just go from there. It just works extremely well. Usually you'll see people crossing. Maybe there's someone confident or confident themselves enough to want to head poke, and you can get them out, pick them. But yeah, it's all about, this map is a lot about placement, and just make sure you check those corners because shotguns are very, very, very important.
They're effective here. They are effective.
Yeah, very effective. And you can use snipers. You can snipe it up. I've died plenty of times by snipers. But like I said, it's all about positioning and challenging the right fights and stuff like that.
And I have to say, sidearm is a pretty well balanced secondary. If you're wanting like a really well balanced loadout on this, yeah, it's go for a scout rifle like Mida, and then a sidearm like Havoc Pigeon, and that's a very balanced loadout for this map. So you've done it on all classes. What for hunters? What would you say is probably going to be the most successful of the subclasses?
I've seen the most effective hunter class I've seen was Golden Gun. Golden Gun seems to work really well, especially with solar nades and stuff like that, being able to burn. I personally use Void, just because I'm not very comfortable with hunters yet. I'm not very good with them, so I didn't really level up my the gunslinger much.
I'd highly recommend the incendiary grenade on this map. Trip mine just has a tendency to not hit many good places. The sight lines are a little bit too narrow to use it effectively all the time, and this is just a map where bank shots are going to be amazing with that incendiary grenade. You toss it, bounce it off something, and watch 3 people kind of burn out from that. That being said, Blade Dancer is also another pretty good super to use here as well. You can easily just dice people up because it's hard to get away from a Blade Dancer in these tight corridors.
Definitely.
I also saw Night Stalker use success, but I think Golden Gun is probably going to be the easiest of them.
The best one to choose from.
So you main a Warlock, right?
I do, yeah. Main Warlocks.
So do you which subclass of those would you think is the most suited to this?
I would definitely go with the Sunsinger. I'm a very aggressive Sunsinger where I use Radiant Skin, and the bolt grenades work wonders, especially the majority of fights I've been through. People like to stick together, at least 2 people, and it's a great way to split people apart. Throw a nade between them, they're bolted, they're burned, they split up, or they're running together, and now they're just burning, and it's a great way for your teammates to come pick them off as well. So I definitely recommend bolt grenades. Make sure it's burned. And it's great when you have the Radiant Skin, maybe 3rd, 4th, 5th round, whichever one you feel comfortable with, and you can pop that, spam nades, get your melees in. But it works really well. It's a great way to scare people off and make them run into your teammates, or just, like I said before, split up in general, because the burn does scare people when they start to burn because they're afraid of dying. So people won't think straight after that.
I ended up going as a Stormcaller because I don't know, I was just really interested in seeing how well that super itself would perform in there.
Yeah,
I have to say the rest of the subclass isn't really suited to it. It's okay. I got some pretty stupid like melee kills off of it just by the melee range. That was the one I did my sidearm kills with. So I was getting them like a 2 or 3 hits with that, and then by the time they were in melee or the Stormcaller melee range, they would die from that. You have such mobility, you can just kind of mow through the enemy team, and then landfall is another really good thing. Just jump up kind of in some of the higher areas, and
there's nowhere to go. You can't hide from it. It's done.
Can't hide from it. They die.
Not at all.
Yeah. So for the last class for Titans, which do you think is going to be the best here?
So of course Sunbreaker. It's a big fight between Sunbreakers and the Striker Titans because
definitely
Sunbreakers incendiary grenades work wonders. You know, throwing down, we get the right angles, throw them down tunnels, burn the team. Even sometimes if they're on the grenade, you can just kill them.
Oh yeah.
That's Titan. That's super. The Sunbreaker super comes in extreme handy. But the Strikers are really good as well. You know, the Armamentarium, where, you know, I believe that's where you can have 2 grenades. The grenades are just ridiculous for that. And
double lightning grenades is
exactly
nasty.
Double lightning grenades is insane. And that Titan Smash can come in handy, especially how we're talking about the tight corridors. You get someone in a tight spot, just boom, super, possibly get 2 to 3 people, depending on the situation. So it's the melee as well. The shoulder charge is ridiculous in a map like this as well.
Shoulder charge is very fun on this map.
Shoulder charging on the corners is ridiculous. But I know you said you were using something different. I used Defender. You want to explain your strat?
Yeah. Well, I just been wanting to play Defender for a while, and the new updates to it, where when you pop your bubble, you get a grenade charge and melee charge back. So with Armamentarium, I would use 1 grenade before I pop my bubble, and so when I pop it, I would have 2 grenades. I went for the cheapo magnetic grenades because they are really good for this specific game mode. You can shut down supers all you want, but at the end of the day, getting a straight up kill with magnetic grenade before they can pop their super is a little bit better in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
So I went double magnetic grenades, Blessings of Light with my bubble, and I would just play really aggressive. I think I used an auto rifle on him, and or no, it was a hand cannon. I used one of the new Omelon hand cannons on him, and a sniper rifle. But I would just kind of run in, you know, just pre-throw a grenade in there. They'd blow up, and then after that, you can usually pop a bubble down on the ghost that you killed, or you can play even more aggressive and just push into the enemy, throw a grenade in there, pop your bubble, throw 2 more grenades. And for most teams, that's a lot of chaos going down when there is now a bubble in what we thought was our safe spot, and there's this really beefy Titan who is just wreaking all types of havoc on us. What do we do? And then your teammates come in and just, you know, shoot their kneecaps out.
Yeah, just clean up.
Yeah, it was pretty effective. It caused a lot of chaos. I know. At the same time, a Striker or a Sunbreaker could have done the exact same thing, but I think it's just kind of funny to do it with the Defender now as well.
It definitely annoys people, so it's one of those good things you get to laugh at.
Yeah. What about heavy ammo on this map? Usually we can be like, hey, we can rush their heavy, or we're not going to rush it. It's going to take too long. What about on this map?
I think rushing their heavy, so the way to do it is you can have one person rush, you know, their normal spots. I would recommend having someone go in between because the radar is, you know, can detect at such a wide range. By the time you get to the middle of the map, you can tell which side your opponents are going to. So once you figure out exactly where they're going, send everyone there, and you know, assuming you can outgun them, it's perfect. You wouldn't even have to worry about heavy. But in the chance that heavy is popped for both sides, rockets do come in handy. Of course, the truth is outstanding.
Like always, I wouldn't recommend using
really
Dragon's Breath. Wouldn't recommend it. It's not good.
It's not good. But like rockets are good. Machine guns are good if you know how to pre-fire and all that cool stuff.
Swords actually are fun on this.
I never thought of that. Swords.
Yeah, swords. I mean, so it's such tight corridors that you can easily work your way in on someone really close. If someone fires a rocket, you know, you can block it. Machine guns block it, and then they kind of panic after that point. For just general play tips, what would you suggest? I know you spoke about going into the center of the map to use the radar to your advantage, to kind of probe where they are, and then, you know, send the rest of your team kind of in flanking runs if they're staying grouped up.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I would do. Just that's the best thing, honestly. If you're depending on the playstyle, because some people even wave off heavy. Some people just stick with their teams. But if you're looking for a strat that works really well, at least works for me. I personally would go, even if it's by myself, I would go in the middle, call it out. Everyone would either rush their heavy, or depending on the time, they'll just stick around and pick up their heavy. But we usually rush them where they're going, try to stop them, and put pressure on them to make sure heavy's not even popped that round.
And what about just for general tips? Would you pretty much say that pretty much the heavy round on this map is going to act like any other, except after like 15 seconds there's going to be heavy ammo spawning for the most part?
Yeah, it's it's like any other thing. If you pop a heavy, you're going to be at a certain mode. It's like, oh, rip, there goes our round. Or maybe you'll clutch and there's really bad heavy. But it's just the normal heavy round, nothing much different, I would say. Nothing crazy. It's all about who gets first shot in.
I'd probably recommend staying away from the center middle of the map. That you're just so open there that there's so many angles on you. You will probably die there if you go into the middle.
After heavy's popped. Yeah, if heavy's popped, don't
not
stay
even just when.
Yeah, what I usually do in middle was I would go to the middle, see if there's anyone from their spawn coming in. I'll usually scout it. Usually if there's someone there, I'll pick them off, and then I'll just rush behind them with a nice flank. So it's just about it's all about situational. If there's no one there, flank through them. If there's too many people there, don't fight them. Go try to regroup with your team and go forward.
Awesome. Well, I think that's about all the tips we can give at this point, because at one point you guys got to get your feet dirty and get in there and try the map out for yourselves.
Got to experience it. You got to get in there.
That's where you will learn the most on this one. It's
exactly.
It's kind of trial by fire, but it's one of the better maps to play trials on. I think it allows for a lot of teamwork.
Definitely, I love it. I'm liking it a lot.
Due to it being a circle, or mostly a circle, it's more interesting to play on than just some of the straight and line mirror maps.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Versus the Stream. If anyone listening here wants to find you, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Versus the Stream. That's VERSUS, not just VS, but Versus the Stream. And you can also find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/VersusTheStream.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I know you also stream for us too.
Thank you.
What times can people check out your stream on the PlanetDestiny Twitch channel?
If you want to check me out on PlanetDestiny, you can catch me on the weekends, starting anywhere around 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a few hours. Come by, hang out, have some fun times.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Holtz. Appreciate it, buddy.
And best of luck to everyone trying out this map for the first time.